Hey team. All right, I've been thinking about this video for quite some time because I think this might be the most important message that I give to you all. Believe it or not, I was actually in Denver a couple weeks ago with Jen Hawkins, and I was talking to her and Amanda, who's a senior goals out in Nebraska, and I was telling them about my follow-up system and what I do, and they had never heard of it before, which I thought was kind of interesting because I thought I copied it from somewhere in some training manual somewhere along the way. But they actually requested that I do a video for the entire Dream Team. So this is for anybody that's interested in a follow-up system, an organizational system, and certainly my team that I'm putting it out for my daily videos. So anyway, this is all about the importance of follow-up. I have heard over and over, the fortune is in the follow-up, and I can attest to that wholeheartedly. I know personally when I have been consistently following up and really working the follow-up properly, I see a spike in my business. When I don't, and I kind of lay back and let a few days go by, weeks go by without really working the follow-up, I see my business drop. And so it is so important. One thing I think sometimes ambassadors think, oh, well, I don't have the personality. I'm not that outgoing. I'm not a salesperson. And I can tell you, I don't think it matters how outgoing you are. I don't think it matters how sparkling your personality is or how charismatic you are. What matters is that when you make a contact, you properly communicate and follow up. And that's how your business will, in fact, be successful and grow. So I'm going to give you guys a system that I use that has helped me kind of stay organized and stay focused and be consistent. Like I said, I didn't invent it. I saw it somewhere, but I've tweaked it a little bit to make it work for me. So the first thing that I do is always carry around my little pink notebook everywhere I go. And so that means when I'm out and about picking kids up from school or going to games or whatever it is, and I meet someone that seems interested in Plexus, then I write it down in my book. Okay. And then I set my business hours for the evening after my kids go to bed. So I work between 9 and 12. I have a block of time that I consistently focus on income producing activities with Plexus. So I go to my notebook, and any notes that I've made throughout the day, anybody that I've talked to, any opportunities that I saw, I open my notebook and I go to my card box. Okay, this little 5x7 card box. And in the card box, there are dividers. You'll see, if you guys can see this, I've got dividers 1 through 31 to represent 31 days in a month. Okay. Also, at the back of my box, I also have a spot for non-active customers, active customers, and ambassadors, and I will go into how I keep that organized. Okay, so you have 1 through 31. So what happens is I meet somebody. So I met Lee, and I probably wrote her on my book in October. And so I come home and I get a card and I put her name at the top. I hopefully got as much information as I can about Lee when I met her or when she made the contact with me. A lot of times these come off of Facebook. So I get her phone number, I get her email address, I get her mailing address, and then I write down any information about Lee that might help me help her. So if she shared her health goals with me, and I'm going to write it down. I have here that she was Lee, who's, here we go, the sample that I'm using, had surgery. She wants to get healthy. They're actually in the process of figuring out what is wrong with her. She had some respiratory issues. So I've written all of that down. Then on the 7th, I say, I ask her, I've inquired what the doctors have figured out. And then on the 12th, I send her a promotion. So anyway, so I've written down everything about Lee that I possibly can. Now, when Lee first makes contact with me and I first start walking with her, I actually don't put her in one of the 1 through 31 spots. I actually put her at the very front part of my box because I feel like when someone makes contact with me initially, for the first 30 days, I'm going to probably follow up very consistently. For me, the first week, it's pretty much every day I'm following up. Once we get past the first week, it's kind of every other day, and then maybe every third day, whatever, until we get to the 30 days. Some of those follow-up, you've got you should always have an initial email, maybe that shares your testimony and a little bit about Plexus. I send opportunity videos, I send product videos, I send what Plexus is and what Plexus is not. There's lots of documents that you can send during that follow-up season when you're really working with them in the first 30 days, and you can get creative with that. A lot of it's going to have to do with what you've written down on your card and what the health goals are. So if someone shared with you that they're diabetic, then you're sending diabetic testimonies. If someone has migraines, then you're sending stuff about how Plexus helps with migraines. So this information card is really important because it will help with the information that you're sending to your potential person. Okay, so once we kind of get through the 30 days and they haven't bought, they haven't signed up as an ambassador, that's fine. They're going in my card box, right? Like I said, leads from December. October. So what I would do then is say I would start at the beginning of the month and get all my cards. I kind of go through them and spread them out throughout the 1 through 31. So for me right now, I have, like, if I pulled out March the 17th, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 people on the 17th of the month that I'm going to follow up with. Now, these people are people that, so I've been doing this for a year. So within the year that I've been doing this, they have reached out to me at some point, and the door has never necessarily been closed. There's still a cracked door. There's still some interest level. They just haven't made the actual purchase or haven't joined. So I would just go through these people. I would look at their card, the information, kind of where the last time we left off, send a little email, send a Facebook message, send a text, because I've also figured out what the best way to communicate with them is, and I've got it written on my cards. So I do that all tonight on the 17th during my regular business hours, and then I would probably place these people somewhere towards the end of the month. So probably I'll go ahead and stick them on the 31st. And then at that point, decide whether or not I'm going to follow up on the 31st, or I'm just going to pull them, push them to the next month. So that's kind of a really good, for me, it's a way to stay organized. It's a state of not let people kind of fall through the cracks of follow-up. I have people in my card box that seriously asked me about Plexus last February that have still not made a decision to join or purchase, and I'm still following up with them. And I can tell you on many, many occasions that has worked to my benefit, where it's taken somebody 6 months or 9 months to make a decision. And it really is all about the follow-up. So that's how you kind of do that. And again, I want to make sure I've explained that properly and you can see the tabs. I also have a section for my active customers, because I always want to know who's active, and I need to know if they're retail or preferred, because I certainly want to make sure I turn those retail customers into preferred customers, following up with them regularly. I have a section for my non-active customers, because I feel like those are probably the best people to try to bring back, and I always want to know what their experience was with Plexus, so I'm going to write that on my card. And then I have a section for my ambassadors, and that makes it easy to get their address quickly, their phone number quickly. Again, if they have, you can write their Plexiversary on there, if you know their birthday, and so that kind of keeps it personal there. So that is the handy dandy card box system that I use. It has helped me build my business. In addition to the card box, I know my video is getting long, but I use a calendar. This is not a calendar that I write appointments on. This is a calendar just for customers month to month, and also ambassadors. So when I get a new order, I'm going to write immediately on a calendar like this that I write Lori welcome, okay? And I want to make sure that I know she ordered on the 3rd, and so I immediately on the 3rd of March, I want to send a welcome to Plexus email. And then I figure that it's going to take about 3 or 4 days for the products to get there, so I count out 3 or 4 days, and on that day, I'm going to send the optimal results to her. Okay, so she has that. Then I count out a couple more days, and I'm going to write on here, I'm going to send Lori information about drinking her water. Okay, then count a couple more days, and I'm going to send her information about how ProBio can help with not candida, but fungus and so forth. So within the first month of a new customer, I try to send documents every few days to keep them really engaged and educated on how to do the products. I also like to write on here if I have a preferred customer 1 week before their preferred shipment ships out, I write here Gwen auto ships with an arrow down. So on the 2nd, I'm going to alert myself that she auto ships on the 9th. So I want to get in touch with Gwen, see how she's doing, and if she's having great results, she's a wonderful ambassador prospect. So I start talking to her about the business opportunity at least a week before she auto ships, because we want to catch that. We don't want that to auto ship and then her decide, and then you have to wait the extra month. So this kind of helps me stay organized about turning my really great customers into ambassadors, and that I've been pretty successful in doing that as well. Another thing that I like to do is write over here in the notes section. When I get a new customer, I write their name here, okay? And then if I have a check mark, once I put a check mark, that means I've sent them a mailing package. And I like to send my new customers a catalog, a thank you letter, and a little sheet that talks about, again, how to get the best results. So they get a little package and the check mark goes here. And then on this part, I write down who my new ambassadors are for the month. And again, I send them a welcome package as well and send a little check. So that keeps me organized about my mailings. It keeps me organized about my customers and making sure that I'm educating them about the products and also my ambassadors as well. If you do get a brand new ambassador and they're brand new and they've never taken the products, you want to treat them like a customer and educate them also. So that's how we do that. So I hope that helps, and I just want to stress again how important really great follow-up is. Be a great communicator. Always do what you say you're going to do and do it in a timely fashion. And having an organized system like this helps you stay focused and accomplished. So, okay, thank you guys. Bye.